Hey, welcome to Off My Bridge. My name is Guy, and I will be showing you everything that you need to know in order to just jump in and start playing Star Trek Adventures 2. When you look at a character sheet from Star Trek Adventures 2, you are immediately presented with 12 numbers. They're most prominent on the character sheet, and this is also most prominent on starships, monsters. Everything in the game has 12 of these values. There are 6 attributes and 6 departments. Or, for starships, there are 6 systems and 6 departments. That's all you need to keep in mind, is that there are 2 groups of 6 each. What are these 6? Well, in terms of attributes for player characters and non-player characters, NPCs, they are, very simply, control, daring, fitness, insight, presence, and reason. Each of those represents an aspect of your character, and they are derived using the various character generation rules within the rulebook, which I can go through on another video if you prefer. Let me know in the comments down below. The 6 departments are quite simply from Star Trek themselves. You have Command, Con, Engineering, Security, Medicine, and Science. And those represent your training in those various areas. So the way that the 2d20 system works is every time you need to make a check, you need to do something where there is a risk of failure, the GM will say, give me a control plus security check.
Or any other combination of attribute and department as needed by the task.
Don't make me shoot you.
Yeah, sorry. You've left me no choice. This is on you. Give me a control and security check.
What that means is you take your control value, which could be between 1 and 12, and your security value, which could be between 1 and 5, and you combine the 2 numbers together. This gives you your target number. Every single d20 that you roll that is equal to or under the target number is considered a success. Anything over is just discarded. Except for 2 extreme cases, which we'll talk about in a little bit. So what that means is you will take 2d20, it's in the name, and you'll roll 2d20. And you hope to get 2 of those values under the target number. So you can get 2 successes.
I got an 8 under 3. I'm feeling pretty good. That's 2 successes. You hit the Perosian sand flea. And now I'm feeling pretty sad. I did warn it not to move. I mean, I did. The sand flea twitches. I shoot it again, but I'm still sad about this. Yeah.
Why would you want successes? Because, as the GM, you will also stipulate the number of successes required in order to achieve the task. So you might say, I want a control plus security difficulty 2 check. What that means is that the player is going to have to roll and get at least 2 successes. Now, that's fine, except that the difficulty number can range between 1 and 5. How would you get 5 successes off of 2 dice? Well, that's where the rest of the mechanics come in. How do we get more successes? Well, there are a couple of ways for us to do this. First and foremost, if you roll a natural 1 on the d20, that counts as 2 successes automatically. So on 2d20, you can, in theory, get up to 4 successes, if you're really lucky. If you roll a 20, that, unfortunately, is not ignored. That results in a complication. So not only does it not count towards the success, but it complicates the situation. It changes the scene in some unfavorable way for you, or your characters anyway. There are things we can do to get rid of those complications, but that's a different story. So you want to roll 1s, basically. That's one way of increasing your number of successes. But it's not a surefire way unless you're rolling 1s constantly, in which case, check your dice. You Ferengi, you.
I didn't know those dice were loaded. I'm the victim here. I paid good latinum for those dice.
So how else can we do this? Momentum is a very meta-game mechanic because you collectively, between all of the players, have momentum. It's a pool that you contribute to and that you draw from, and you're drawing from the same pool. It takes you away from your character and it makes you now more a player of the game Star Trek Adventures 2. But when you start to understand how that mechanic works, it makes you more of a storyteller within Star Trek Adventures 2. And I think this is something that folks need to pay particular attention to. Star Trek Adventures 2 is most certainly a narrative-based storytelling game first and foremost, And then it is a mechanical game. There are lots of mechanics that are under the hood, but primarily this is about telling a good story and having fun collectively. So everybody's involved in making the story. That's why it's one of my favorite systems. Momentum works like this. Every time you are tasked to make a check, every single success over and above the successes that you needed, add to your momentum. One success equals one momentum. So if the difficulty is 1 and you roll 2 dice and you get double 1s, you have the 1 that you needed for the difficulty, and then you have 3 additional momentum, which now can be added to your momentum pool. Your momentum pool can only ever be as big as twice the number of players seated around the table. So if there are 4 players, you can have a momentum pool of 8. Any more than that, and the momentum needs to be spent immediately. And momentum spends and stuff is a whole separate video. We're going to talk about that later on. Again, if you want me to, let me know in the comments down below. Comments help promote the video, by the way, but it also primarily allows me to understand what you want me to make videos of. The way that momentum spend works is you've got your pool of momentum, and you decide, I have a task with a difficulty of 4. I'm not going to risk rolling double 1s. I want to add some more dice. You can add up to 3 dice to your pool, giving you a total of 5 dice. You can never roll more than 5 dice on a single check. So that means you're buying 3 dice. And the way that that works is the first dice that you buy costs 1 momentum. The second die you buy costs 2 momentum. The third die you buy costs you 3 momentum. So 6 momentum to buy all 3 dice in a single round. That's a lot of momentum, but that means you are rolling 5 dice. Now, if your difficulty is only 1 and you're rolling 5 dice, well, that's a potential of 10 successes if you roll double 1s on all of them. Statistically, highly unlikely. But there is a significant chance that you will get a lot of the momentum back. But maybe not. You might roll very badly and have spent it all for nothing. How else can you increase the number of successes that you could get? Well, your character has determination. And determination, you can only ever have 3 determination. But determination is derived from the values that your character has. Now, values are part of character creation, but effectively what they are they're a set of values that your character holds near and dear. They might be good values, they might be bad values. When you are going with your value, you can spend 1 determination. And what the determination does is it automatically changes one of your dice in your pool, but automatically changes it to a success. So that's really useful. You can bank on, I've spent 1 determination, I've got 2 successes. And you get determination back when you go against your values. So that's another way. Then you have focuses. Foci. Multiple focuses. Yeah. You have these things called focus. You have multiple of these things. You get the picture. Focus and focuses are keywords that your character earns as your character is being built. Each keyword is nebulous. So for example, it might be astrophysics. That covers a lot of different things within the astrophysics space. If the task that you are attempting is applicable to that focus, so you are attempting to chart the gravitational distortions of the nexus as it ripples through the galaxy. And you say, well, I've got astrometrics. The GM might make the ruling, well, that's appropriate. I agree with that. Why do we care about focuses? Focuses allow you to take the department value for your character that is part of the task that you are rolling, and that becomes your critical success range. Remember, your critical success range is 1. When you roll a 1, you get 2 successes. If you have a focus, your department score, let's say it's 4, now your critical success range is 1 to 4. So if you roll a 1, a 2, a 3, or a 4, it counts as 2 successes. That's a massive increase in your potential chance for getting 2 successes. So if you have a focus in something, suddenly your 2 dice that you are rolling, there's a strong possibility that you're going to get a double at least on one of them. So focuses are really useful for bumping up that value. And if you've got focuses and you've got determination and you spent momentum to gain extra dice, you are in a very good position to roll lots and lots and lots of successes, or lots of failures. That's just how Dubbo works, and Star Trek 2D20. Finally, talents. Your character has several talents. Some change the character at the moment that they're added to your character during character creation, but many alter or change your dice when you roll them. They're super cool and super useful for sometimes re-rolling dice, if applicable, or adding dice or gaining dice for free rather than using momentum. They're really powerful. Each one is individual, and you have to take into account each effect in its own right. So now you understand the entire concept of the 2d20 system. 2 different values combined together, and then you have to roll dice underneath that or equal to that number and try and get as many successes as there are difficulties. And there are lots of different ways in which you can achieve that. I hope that this has given you some insight into the very basic mechanics of it. And as the Denobulans would say, my husband, my wife, my wife's husband, my husband's husband, my wife's husband's husband, my husband's wife's husband, hit that like button. And I mean, do you see how it works? Anyway, until next time, live long and happy gaming.